Welcome to the Real P&L Trading Show, where I do share my real P&L on 4 accounts and share my proprietary SafeWheel system for free. So let's get started today. First thing I want to do is make sure my audio is working okay. I've always had issues with audio, so I always ask you guys to give me feedback on the audio. Also, be sure to post any questions you might have about trading, about any of my systems that I trade, about options, anything you have questions about options or trading. Just go ahead and post those questions. Do it early rather than later. Sometimes I get questions at the end of the broadcast, but I don't see them, and then I end the broadcast before I can answer. Will says my audio checks out. Thank you, Will. Appreciate that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started here. I'm going to start with my first system, the Earnings Edge. I'll get into the PL5 Pro, then the PL5 Pro S&P 500 variant, and then I'll get into the SafeWheel. So first, let's start with the Earnings Edge. What happened with the Earnings Edge? I did not place a trade last week with the Earnings Edge. Nothing fit through the filters. It's not really earnings season, and sometimes there's not a stock to trade because it's got to fit through the filters for me to trade it for the Earnings Edge, and that did not occur last week. So my account value is still $6,400. Let's look at the spreadsheet. I have everything kind of tracked over here on this sheet here. $6,400. Yeah. So what is the SPY trading today? SPY 589.35. 589.35, down pretty big since last week, but still up 24% for the year. So wow, it's just on a tear the last 2 years for sure. You can see here how the Earnings Edge is done in 2022, vastly outperformed, came close in 2023, and then 2024 vastly underperforming. And the Earnings Edge and the S&P 500 pretty equal in terms of returns, but on a risk-adjusted basis, it would have been better to buy and hold the S&P 500 rather than going with Earnings Edge this year for sure. You want to, the Earnings Edge has some risk. It has a risk component to it that's higher than buy and hold. And I was up over 100% at one point, but I've come back down to being only up 28%. So hit a little bit of a losing streak there. We'll see what happens in the future. Could come back. It's definitely going to be much more volatile than the S&P 500. That's the Earnings Edge. All right, let's talk about the Premier Level 5. Premier Level 5. So last week I had, I started this account on July 19, 2024. So that's when I discovered the tweak that I made to the PL5 system. Was having a little bit of trouble with the PL5 in terms of it wasn't keeping up with the market at all, and we were in an environment where the S&P 500, the market was going up, but there wasn't more than a 3% pullback for about 8 months, except for one time, and it did happen one time. But other than that, so the system was, without that volatility, the system was struggling a little bit, and so I made a tweak. And that tweak is now called the PL5 Pro, and it took me about 6 months to figure that out and back test it, make sure that it was good. And then on July 19, 2024, I started implementing the newer updated system, the Pro, and I started with about $403,907, so about $404,000 on July 19, 2024. Let's see how it's doing so far since I started on July 19, 2024. Let me go into the account and see what it's doing here. So that would be the account number 527, I believe. Yes. Yeah. And I'll look at my net lick, 462.7. Let's call it 462.797. 462.797. Let me remember that here. 462.797. So last week it was 457.625. So I'm up About $5,000 this last week. So a lot of people were asking. I put out a video yesterday about what happened on that last Wednesday, when the Fed made that decision and the market was down 3%, and the volatility spiked from 15 to 28. And what happened to the PL5 Pro? Well, I was up. I made 5,000. I'm up $5,000 on a net liquidation basis from last week. So since I started this particular PL5 Pro back in the middle of July, I'm up $58,890, up 14.58%. The S&P 500 since that same time frame is up 7.35%. So the S&P is up pretty significantly. I'm up 7% over the last 6 months, but that's pretty good because the S&P only averages maybe 7 to 10% a year. But the PL5 Pro is outperforming 14.58%, and it has to do with we had some really nice well, I say nice, but we had some high volatility coming in on that August 5th. We had some high volatility last Wednesday, and that high volatility helps out the PL5 Pro, and it doesn't really help the S&P 500 because typically when you have that volatility, the S&P 500 will go down. So you can see that I'm pretty much doubling the return of the S&P 500 since the middle of July, and I have lower drawdown. So my drawdown rate's maybe one third, one half. So on a risk-adjusted basis, outperforming quite well. All right, next. Now I have the Premier Level 5 Pro S&P 500 variant. So this one's more closely tied to the S&P 500. Let's see how that account's doing. I can't put the total. This is the account that I'm trading in Interactive Brokers, and I can't show you the whole screen because it has my account number on there. I have no way of hiding the account number and showing the number at the same time. It's like you get them both together. So let's see what that number is. Last week it was 32,976. Now let me back up here. On July 16, 2024, I started this variant with $30,000 account, and now it's up. Last week it was up $2,976. Let's see what it is this week. You can see it here. It's at 32,452. So let me put that in. 32,452. So down about $500 this week. 32,452. 32,452. So down about $500, and that has to do, again, I'm closely tracking the S&P 500. So when the S&P 500 goes down, this variant will go down with it, but will or should outperform because I do have the PL5 Pro portion of this account running in this account. Okay, so started this account with $30,000 back in the middle of July. It's now $32,452, up $2,452 or 8.17%, while the S&P 500 over that exact same time period is up 4.63%. So 8.1 versus 4.6%. Almost doubling the S&P 500 with the Premier Level 5 Pro S&P 500 variant. So that's doing quite well, as expected. Let's get into the safe wheel. What is going on with the safe wheel? I'm going to go ahead and look at the account value and start from there. This account here. 5401. I don't know if that moved hardly at all last week. Let's see, 5401. Oh, that's pretty much the same as it was the week before. So not much movement on that at all. 5401. That's the current account balance. That's kind of strange that it's exactly the same. Let me double check that. Okay, yeah, 53.98 now. So yeah, so it's 54.01. So no movement at all in the safe wheel last week. So we had that 3% downturn in the overall market, a lot of volatility, but the safe wheel just kind of held, didn't do much at all. And so now let's get into managing the safe wheel. I can see here I own 100 shares. So that's one thing that kind of catches my eye. I can see that my cost basis was $24. So I was assigned at $24 for the 100 shares. I have a put hedge and I have a long call to protect my put hedge. So let's see here. Let's talk about the puts, the hedges. So the put hedge, I have 3 questions. Number 1, do I own 200 shares? The answer is no. So I don't know. I don't care if it paid off or not. The other one is how many days are left? I've got 179. If it's under 100, the depreciation's too fast, and I would move it, but I'm fine there. And the other one is it close enough, the strike price, within 70% of the price of LI? LI trading around $24. Let's see here. Bring up the calculator, see if that comes up. So I would say 20. Things not responding very quickly here. 20 divided by, let's call it $24. So it's 83%, so no problem there. So it is close enough. So the put hedge is good. And then I have my long call, just in case there's some type of takeover bid or something. I have a long call here at, what strike did I get that into? 2650 call strike. So that's doing fine. Nothing going on there. So now that my hedges are in place, I'll run the traditional wheel. And the question I have is, now that I own 100 shares at this 24 strike, can I sell a covered call at the 24 strike or even higher for more than about 24-25 cents? So let's take a look. I'm looking here, and I want to do it within the expiration cycle of this week. And it looks like I can sell, see, the 24s are going for $45 to $48. The 24.50 is going for $25 to $27. And the 25 is going for 14 to 15. 14 to 15 cents or dollars is not enough. 25 to 27 is enough. I'm going to sell a covered call at the 24.50. I'm going to do one of those. So I hit the sell here. Mid price is 26 cents or $26. I'm going to do one based on the how much money I have in the account, between $5,000 and $10,000. I do one of these and 3 put hedges. So C26. Okay, that filled right away. So I was able to sell a call against my 100 shares. So I'm basically running the regular wheel here, except for I do have these hedges in place. And that's really pretty simple, and that's the trade. Except for this long call here, which I do every Friday, and I spend about $5 or $6 a week on it. Other than that, I make every trade right here, right in front of you live in this account. Okay, so that's the trade for the safe wheel. Let's see if there's any questions or comments in here. Steve says that he was here first before the shovel. Okay. Will says thanks for the audio checks. Thank you, Will. And Will says shovel is always the first. Shovel the post first through. Yeah, he is, even if he's not first. Kevin, good morning from Lakeland, Florida. Will says, how did all your systems go last week through that drop? Yeah, so I released a video on yesterday, to show, because I had that question multiple times. So I just decided to post a video on it. If you look at the video I posted yesterday, I was up about 1%, on a $407,000 or $450,000 account. That's pretty good. That's like $4,500 that day on a net liquidation basis, right? Not, I don't think I closed anything out that day or anything like that. Will, what size account do you need for the Premier Level 5 Pro? You can trade it with as little as $30,000, but you can see how my $30,000 account's doing. I mean, it's up $2,500. I mean, it's going to take you a while to get going. I like to have portfolio margin, so that's maybe about 100 to 125,000 is a good number to have, because I'd rather trade SPX. But for the PL5 Pro, you can get in there for 30,000, and it's a great, if you do it that way, it's a great learning tool, right? Because when you do have more capital, you'll know what to do then. That's kind of the way I look at it, because you're not going to make these crazy returns. I've been able to outperform the S&P 500 overall over the since 2019, but it's not that easy to outperform the S&P 500. but on a risk adjusted basis also. So you got to look at it that way. I have lower drawdowns, and when the crash comes, I'm not worried. So it's a lot smoother equity curve, and it outperforms according to the back test and forward test that I've ran. Avery says 35,000 minimum for the PL5. Yeah, we did move that up from 30 to 35,000. And but I want to be able to trade SPX because she says lower commissions and more size, which requires portfolio margin status. Portfolio margin status is a much better way to go if you're going to trade the PL5 Pro, but you can still trade it with 35,000. Will says, hope you enjoy your Christmas. Carl and Will, I hope you enjoy your Christmas too, and Merry Christmas to everyone. That's coming up here. What's today? Today's Monday, and then tomorrow is Christmas Eve, and then Wednesday will be Christmas. Merry Christmas to everyone. Avery says technically 30K, but you want to have some cash. So, because you might have to pay a debit to get into some trades. Correct. Yeah, 35,000 is a better number than 30,000 as a minimum. Alan says, is the PL5 Pro only on one stock like SPY? It's only, we traded on /ES, options on ES, E-minis, options, or SPX, which would be options on SPX. So technically you can use two different underlyings, but yeah, I mean, really there's only just the S&P 500 is what I trade that on. Will says thumbs up. Maybe it looks like Carl started with 30K and looking good. Yeah, up 2,500 bucks in the last 6 months or so. Will says, if you learn the PL5 Pro, can you use it on another index like QQQ? I would not. We haven't back tested it. I can't say 100%, but there's some parts about the S&P 500 that make it a better fit. One of those being when the market crashes, everyone, not everyone, but a lot of money managers and a lot of people, how do they protect their portfolio? They buy puts on the S&P 500. They don't necessarily buy puts on the QQQ. They don't buy puts on Tesla. They buy puts on the S&P 500 to protect their overall portfolio. That is a factor in the trade and why it works. So I would stick to the S&P 500. But we could backtest, like we haven't backtested on QQQ or the NASDAQ, but based on what I just said, I would believe that it's not going to perform as well in a crash if you're not in the S&P 500. Alan, to improve SafeWheel, could you be making better choices on which stocks you trade? So that's what the reason why I have the SafeWheel. One of the things in the way that I trade is quantitative, meaning that I don't pick an underlying based on fundamentals or technical analysis, because I trade it based on not knowing what direction it's going to go, and I'm okay if it goes down or up or sideways. It doesn't matter. So I'm not trying to predict which way it's going. So therefore, I don't think that there would be a better choice or worse choice on a stock that I choose for the SafeWheel. It just needs to fit the criteria, the filters, and it doesn't really matter. If it fits those filters, it doesn't matter if it goes up, down, sideways. Rich, what do you think when holding 100 shares, you sell a call and a put to collect 2 times the premium? I haven't ran that back test. That's actually not a bad idea. Basically kind of doing a strangle there. That might work. But I do like to, now that I think about it a little bit, I like to preserve selling my put for when the stock goes down, because it gets closer to my put hedge and my put hedge becomes more powerful and it protects me better. So when I put on that second tranche, or I get into that second layer and I sell a put, I prefer the stock to be down, 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 closer to my put hedge to give me more protection. So that's why I wait, rather than doing it when the stock is maybe higher, right? Because if I couldn't sell a call today, that means that the stock would be lower. And if it's lower, that's better for me to sell a put because I'm closer to my hedge, and my hedge would give me more protection. The safe wheel living up to its name, looking safe this week. Even if we don't make much, it doesn't look like we lose much this week. Yeah, that's a very good point. I think I broke even to the dollar this week, and well, I don't know how much the S&P 500 is down this week, maybe 2 or 3%, whatever it is. So you could have had a stock that came down significantly, and if you're in the wheel, you're basically long. I mean, if the market crashes and you're in the wheel strategy, you're going to get hurt pretty bad. If the market crashes and you're in the safe wheel, you're going to be pretty happy because you're going to make some money. You should come out ahead. Will, I'd like to see a movie based on Carl for the next market crash, similar to the Forrest Gump scene where all the shrimping boats go under except for his. That's a very good analogy. Yeah, that's a good analogy. That's what happened on August 5th this year. All the ships went out and didn't come back, and mine was still alive. In fact, I came out ahead. In fact, I came out way ahead. Will, what do you think of having a video or two of backtest results of your systems through the 4 market types? For example, we can see how the safe wheel performed in March of 2020. I think that's a good idea. Avery does a lot of or most of my backtests. So Avery, what do you think about that? Put the backtest together. Yeah, that's a good idea. I don't know. Maybe other people in this live stream can let me know what they think. Because if I see demand for things like, for example, I had demand for that people wanted to know what happened to me, what happened to my positions on last Wednesday. And so they emailed me, and asked me. And so I know there's demand for something like that, then, I'll make the video. So yeah, if people show that there's demand there, I'll do that for sure. Avery says, don't forget to hit the like button. So if you believe that the instructors, if they're selling a course or claiming that they make money, should share their P&L, I want that out there. I want all these guys to start sharing their P&L. I want you guys to ask them to start sharing. Ask them if they believe instructors should share their P&L. Ask them that question. And let's get the word out. And the way to get that word out is to hit that like button to give this live stream here more exposure. And the more exposure I get, then it's, the more that people are going to ask their potential instructors, do you believe instructors should share their P&L? We want that out there. I believe that instructors should share their P&L if they're selling something. If they're selling a course, or they're teaching you how to trade. Now, if you want to learn from someone that doesn't make money trading, that's up to you. I would not want to learn from somebody that doesn't make money trading. I would want to learn from someone that makes money trading. So that's up to you, though. If you feel like someone is successful, but they don't make money trading, well, that's your definition of success. My definition of success is that they actually make money trading. That's a successful trader to me. And how do you know if they're making money? You got to see their P&L. You've got to see their portfolio over time. Will says, didn't know Avery worked for you. I gave her more work for now. Yeah, oh yeah, Avery's been with me I've been teaching her how to trade. She's been coming in every week since she was 16 years old. I think that was 2017. I don't remember exactly but it's been, what is she now, 25? So it's been about 8 years, something like that she's been with me every day or twice a week, coming in, learning how to trade, and working with me behind the scenes for 3 years, maybe now. Less is more. Everyone hit the like button. Avery says, LOL, that Will didn't know that she worked for me. And Shovel, the last comment that I have says that he's first. Okay, guys. One thing I'd like to say in parting, if the P&L is not real, what else are they trying to conceal? Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, and I'll be back next week. We'll see you then.